Today we are replacing the front and rear bumper on this 2004 TJ Rubicon with some aftermarket Smittybilt bumpers. You're watching Research Design Build. I'm Steve and welcome to the channel. There are plenty of other videos out there showing the installation of these bumpers. However, they tend to gloss over a couple of key points and some areas where we really struggled. Hopefully with those couple of tips, it will save you some time. The best delivered price we found for this entire kit was actually through Amazon, which was a little surprising, but I will put a link in the description below to an Amazon affiliate link where you can get your own set of these bumpers. Now again, we are installing the three pieces here, so we've got the front bumper, the rear bumper, as well as the rear bumper tire carrier. So there's three separate parts you'd have to order through Smittybilt if you want to replicate what we're doing here today. For the front bumper, the first process was to remove the factory one, and that is done by removing two Torx head bolts on top where the tow hooks are, and then one on the bottom. We did have one on the driver's side that was a bit of a trouble and needed to be cut off. These do use nuts that are sort of welded to a plate and held in place, but through time, rust, and our removal, we'd broke them off. So on the driver's side, what we had to do was actually put on another nut, as you see here, and then weld that one back into place. We did the same on the passenger side, pulling the factory tab back up into place and putting a couple spot welds on there. Installation of the front bumper was actually quite a breeze once we had all that set up. Again, just the 6 bolts, 4 on the top and 2 on the bottom. Moving on to the rear, it was much the same. Lots of stuck bolts. We ended up busting a couple that we had to drill out. Kind of par for the course when you're dealing with a vehicle this old. If you are going to do this, I would recommend soaking them a few days in advance with some penetrating oil. It'll probably make your life a lot easier. So this one did have a factory trailer hitch and we had to remove that. There are 2 additional bolt holes that need to be drilled on both sides of the vehicle. Smittybilt does give you this nice template which you can use for both sides to locate where to drill. To drill these out, we used a step drill and this allowed us to get really nice clean holes. I would go a little bit bigger than they recommend and we'll give you a little bit more wiggle room because they are kind of size on size bolts. Even on the Smittybilt how-to video, they don't show you how to install those driver's side rear bolts. They say it is possible without dropping the fuel tank. However, I don't believe them. We tried so many ways to get those bolts into place and it just wasn't happening. So we ended up cutting that little access into the bottom of the factory bumper support, and that allowed us to get a wrench up into place and get those tightened up properly. Moving on to the tire carrier, that was pretty straightforward. It was just a case of following all the directions to make sure that we had all of these seals and bearings and grease and everything all in the right place. Biggest part, probably just doing all the measurements to figure out exactly how high we needed to mount the spare tire carrier and then how far out we wanted to mount it as well. When this was all finished up, the last piece that we had to do in order to get this all lined up was to install the tire onto the rear tire carrier, and then there is a jacking bolt underneath on the passenger side that allows you to tighten that up and actually raise where that latches. With the weight of the tire on there and it droops a little bit, you can lift up, tighten that up, and get it so that your locking mechanism lines up perfectly smooth with the receiver. Here is the finished product after a couple half days working in the shop putting this together. Great transformation of this Jeep, and just a few more things left to do to restore this guy back to its original glory. As always, if you have any questions in regards to this project, please leave them in the comment section below and I'll make sure to get back to you. Thanks for watching.